Hello guys, Croftus here. When I saw Prometheus, I was quite surprised that one of the engineers, creators of life on Earth, was so aggressive to the human crew and proceeded to launch a ship that would destroy humanity. Many people probably expected species of this advanced civilization to act more peacefully, but this is not what happens. In this video I'm gonna talk about why engineers hate humans and want to kill them, and this is not because they got jealous of human hair. Although the movie does not explicitly answer this question, Ridley Scott actually explains the engineer motives in a podcast with the Empire magazine.
Whoa!
Before we get to the Scott's explanation, I will briefly mention some other good theories that also sound plausible and can be even more logical than the director's answer. One theory suggests that there are two fractions of engineers, creators who seeded life on Earth and destroyers who think that any other life form other than engineers is unethical and shouldn't exist. That would explain why the ship used by creators at the beginning of Prometheus is different from juggernauts used by destroyers. It would also explain the difference in suits, since creators don't have these bias suits that seemingly merge with the body. So just like humans, engineers probably have different nations and groups with distinct goals. Another theory is that engineers seed planets with life to experiment and develop bioweapons. Once a civilization achieves a certain level of technological advancement, they would drop their bioweapons, the Black Goo in this case, to test how effective it is. We know that engineers not only seeded Earth with life, but people on Planet 4 were also their creations as well. So engineers could experiment with humanoid life forms to see which ones would develop faster. A different theory suggests that the engineer started to kill people as soon as he touched David. Maybe the engineer realized that David is not a biological creation and considered this quote-unquote life form disgusting, so he killed David first and proceeded to the human crew. Or maybe engineers thought that they are the only ones who are entitled to create, just like humans who programmed later versions of androids such as Walter, forbidding them to be creators. These were pretty good theories, but now let's talk about the Ridley Scott explanation, which I think is really good and ties with the dialogue scene when the engineer wakes up. Peter Weyland tries to talk to the engineer, but Shaw interrupts him, so he orders his men to hit her and shoot her if she tries to speak again. Although it is presented as the engineer does not understand English, I think he realized that humans are violent and dangerous species, so that for some reason Weyland is allowed to talk to him, but not Elizabeth. As Ridley said, he sees engineers as gardeners of space that would occasionally visit an empty bowl and in their godlike generosity create life. But they periodically visit planets they've seeded, and if they discover that their offsprings have lost their way and prove to be disappointment, they would wipe the planet clean.
If the planet went wrong, they would want to wipe it clean.
Pretty much like God, who caused the Great Flood because the earth was filled with violence, corruption, and inequality. This is very similar to what was happening on Earth around 0 BC when the engineers originally planned to destroy humans. As we know from Prometheus, the engineer ship was about 2000 years old, so after observing that humanity have not developed the way they wanted, Ridley states that engineers decided to send their missionary, Jesus Christ, as the last attempt to guide humans onto the right path. But we ended up crucifying Jesus, so the engineers made a final decision that life on Earth was a mistake and prepared to launch their ship. This is also confirmed by what David does to people on the Planet 4. He learned of the engineer ways and then dropped the Black Goo bombs to destroy a humanoid race. The engineer in Prometheus wakes up and sees that people they wanted to destroy 2000 years ago arrived to the distant planet. He realizes that humans are still violent and corrupt species who are also capable of interstellar travel, which makes them even more dangerous to other engineer creations. So it's not a surprise that the engineer kills the human crew and proceeds to destroy Earth. According to Ridley, the engineer plan to destroy humanity is still relevant today based on what is happening in the world right now, including the pollution of environment, poverty, and inequality in poor countries.
What's happening in Syria right now is medieval.
Yeah.
And no, it's worse than medieval.
What do you guys think about this? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Also, thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to my channel for more alien content.